to Arena Editor, visually showing I've reset the game to a new game so that we don't have any of the stages unlocked, we don't have any of the robots unlocked, etc. Objective, timing will start as soon as I press the B button. Alternatively, I could reset the game and press start on the title screen. Time will end on cease in the stage Red Planet Rumble in the Mayhem Mode on the gold difficulty. Timing is RTA, and I'll explain what's going on, what I'm doing. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So, this is tournament mode, and for the most part we are going to be using Firestorm 3. I say the most part because there are some stages where we want to instead use a robot called Dominator 2. But the idea is we're going through different stages. We need to defeat robots, and you're going to see me alternate between different stages and different game modes. There are two game modes that we're going to be playing in. There is Bash and Dash. The AI is going to be targeting you because you are the king. You win either by defeating the other robots or by surviving 3 minutes. The other game mode is Mayhem, where to win that you need to basically defeat all 3 other robots. They won't target you specifically. It's a free-for-all, but at the same time, you know, the game mode, the stages that we're using, that we have to use for Mayhem, you know, it plays into it well. Like I said, this is a brand new category, the rules are not yet formalised. Firestorm 3, there are 2 robots we could use, Firestorm 3 and Dominator 2. Firestorm 3 is better at, in my opinion, controlling, you know, having to deal with multiple opponents. Whereas Dominator 2 is much better in a one-on-one situation. Now, since Mayhem Mode, which is the mode we're on, you're going to, you know, the robots aren't specifically targeting you. They're targeting each other, it's a free-for-all. Dominator 2 would normally be better, but because of the stage we're in, Melting Pot, the theme, there's that pool of lava in the middle. It's a lot easier to flip a robot into there. So, once again, Dominator 2, the advantage is outweighed by the fact that, you know, we just make light work. And we're going to cook some robots. Cheese is going to become fondue. We've already had lobster boiled. And yeah. So, in terms of, you know, other rules, there is a cheat code called Gladiator. That gets banned, or at least I'm hoping that would get banned. The reason for that is that that cheat code, when you name a robot Gladiator, it creates it gives you all of the arenas, but it also unlocks Arena Editor, so, you know, defeats the purpose. Now this stage is Deep Freeze. We do Deep Freeze, Bash and Dash. We have to do both Bronze and Silver in order to be able to unlock the next stage. Controls are slippy. The controls are very slippery. So, in this stage, robots are going to be slipping and sliding about as if baby oil was poured on this arena. And we have to do this twice, so, you know, it's interesting. Now, we alternate between Bash and Dash and Mayhem because the game is hard-coded to unlock certain things in certain modes. Bash and Dash unlocks 2 things. That's because it unlocks you get an unlock for surviving 1.5 minutes, and then an unlock for either winning or surviving 3 minutes. If you win and you haven't unlocked the 1.5 minute unlock, you unlock it anyway, so So yeah. That's pretty much it. You know, we're just trying to deal with Tornado. Tornado with that circle saw, very annoying, very, you know, very annoying to listen to, very annoying to try and deal with. It's Bash and Dash we could, in theory, just try and outlast Tornado, try and live 3 minutes. But that is a slow. That is slow. You know, in Bash and Dash mode, trying to outlast is a slow way to win. This is slow as well, waiting for Tornado to be counted out. However, it is safer and faster than, you know... So yeah. A robot being counted out, if they are unable to self-right for 10 seconds, it was safer for me to let it leave it there. Also, hi Kyle, and no worries. Now we're in Silver Mode, which means that we can have some more destructive robots. For example, Hypnodisc, who is one of the worst robots to face off against and is basically bad RNG if you have to fight her. Worst RNG, however, is a robot that you only have to fight in gold, thank goodness. But it's a robot called Propellerhead. And if you face up against Propellerhead, you have, you know, the problem is they're both flywheels. So their weapons are very destructive, but they need to spin up. In reality, however, their weapons are always going to be spun up. So they are always very, very destructive. And are potentially going to hurt a lot. So it might just be quicker for me to outlast or try and trick them into the pit or into the spinner, you know, the floor spinner, and try and get them to either be destroyed or pitted. But again, like I said, Bash and Dash, it doesn't matter too much. This is also therefore where I Dominator 2 is usually better, because you can pin the opponent's robot if you're Dominator 2. And if you've pinned the opponent's robot, you can get out of the way of their weaponry. And therefore, you can, well, you don't have to worry about the spinner spinning up and hurting you, because you know, it's out of the way. The reason why I don't use it though in Bash and Dash, 3 robots attacking you and you're trying to drag an opponent in to a pit. Yes, you can pin your opponents with your axe, but it's very hard to do so. The reason why we don't trying to outlast for 3 minutes is not a valid strategy in Mayhem Mode, however, it doesn't guarantee victory. Only in Bash and Dash does outlasting guarantee victory. But I'm making a, you know, if I could defeat the 2 remaining robots, that would be faster. And we're trying to complete the game as fast as possible, but sometimes we have to be careful, you know. Willow on health, there's a health bar in the bottom right of the screen. We don't want to take too much damage, or else we could die. Although, yeah, like that. See, we're now smoking. Like I said, it's still Bash and Dash, so we still will win. But as long as we don't be stupid, like so. Much slower, but is a necessary evil sometimes. Next stage, Acid Bath. Again, we have to do bronze and silver. Again, we're using Firestorm 3. Again, we're in Mayhem Mode. But it's similar to Melting Pot in the sense that there is an always open pit. However, the difference between this one and Melting Pot is that Acid Bath is based on acid. Not only that, but it's also a slightly smaller pit. So you have to be a bit more accurate if you're flipping opponents into it. At one point, Firestorm was actually used in another speedrunning category of the game. It was used in tournament mode. There was I believe it either a world record or a or it was just an attempt that was made to see if Firestorm 3 was a valid alternative to what people used, which was Dominator 2. So but you know, that's a different category, that's a different style altogether. There's a hit roll disc in the skip. Now, you'll see that sometimes when robots get flipped, they're taking damage. The game's mechanics, it's a 3D game, so we've got 3D physics. They can be quite interesting at times, but what it basically means is if you would crash to the ground after being in the air, or if you run a bit too quickly into a wall, your robot is going to take a bit of damage. It's just due to the nature of the physics. You're gone. I don't quite know who wins if you survive 3 minutes in Mayhem Mode, but I believe it's based on health, and Chaos 2 is very low on health. Sometimes bashing into another robot will also damage you. Now the next stage, again we go back to Bash and Dash, it's Desert Storm. Once again, the first 2 stages we are going to use Firestorm. The third stage, however, because of Propeller Head and because Propeller Head can attack you at 360, has a 360 degree range of attack, it is safer to use Firestorm, to use a Dominator even, just to avoid the enemy, to be able to deal with it on the off chance that we have to fight Propeller Head. But this stage is Desert Storm. It's based in, I want to say, a desert, and Dominator 2 died quite quickly. We don't quite remember or know the actual the theme. I'm just gonna let them count out. They're not going anywhere. Even though they're slightly wobbling. We have to do, for Desert Storm, however, Bronze, Silver and Gold. They ramp up the difficulty, I want to say, for each one, just to make it, just to not make it a cakewalk, unlocking all the stages. So Bronze, Silver, you unlock those by Bronze, Silver, and then Gold. Just different difficulties, different robots. So as you can see, we're facing Chaos 2 now, but we wouldn't face Chaos 2 in Bronze because Chaos 2 is exclusively is a robot that is coded to only appear in Silver or Gold difficulty levels. The stage doesn't matter though when a robot will appear. Only the only the difficulty determines which robot appears in which arena, as Tornado decides to get rid of themselves first, which is very nice. The robots taking care of themselves is obviously faster, but now this is where we're going to switch strategies. Like I said, we're going into gold difficulty, so we have to use Dominator 2. Which means that we can't quite deal with the 3 people. Also, we got good RNG. We could have used Firestorm, but we get to show off the Dominator 2's attack. The fact that it can pin opponents. We can bait opponents to just drive into the pit normally anyway. Just Chaos 2 left to go into the pit. There we go. So the last stage, we need to go into Mayhem. This is the stage that will unlock the arena editor. We need to beat it on gold. So we use Dominator 2. I use Dominator 2 here. Mainly because the mechanic of Red Planet Rumble is low gravity. And low gravity plus Firestorm isn't the best idea. So instead, I use Dominator 2. It's Mayhem. We're most likely going to be able to be in situations where it's one-on-one, which means that, pinning opponents with that pickaxe, whilst we can't pin them forever, we can pin them long enough that we get them into the pit, provided, we get them in a good angle and a good way. Or we could just shove them in the pit, potentially. So that's why I use Dominator 2. It's Mayhem. The pit is small enough that, Firestorm, there's no real advantage to use Firestorm 3 for the ability to fight against 3 robots. It's going to be a bit slower dealing with 3 robots. We're potentially going to be bashed about. Really big cheese, why did you not fall in? And as you can see, that's the low gravity. Meaning you're in the air longer. You may not self-right. But we managed to do so in the end. We're in Mayhem mode, the chances of us winning is now slim because we've taken quite a bit of damage. Although I don't know how winning is determined in this game. It might just be, there might be a style control damage and aggression calculator. No, we don't want Stadium. Studio mode. We want Red Planet Rumble. We want Silver. Dominator 2.
3, 2.
The run is new, so routing the game, what's better, what's not as good, is yet to be decided. But it's still, it's an interesting game, and it has really good 3D physics, even though the physics can be a little bad at times. But that's the nature of it being a Game Boy Advance game, Graphics aren't the best, but it still works really well. And tricking the robots to fall into the pit like that was interesting. Anyway, final stage. Obviously, the pinning mechanic that I use, I believe, was found by someone called Shima. But I can't say for certain. I don't know for certain. As you can see, there is a robot. There is Propeller Head in this fight. Propeller Head hitted themselves, but they've got a rotating bar, which, if that bar hits you, it's the same as Hypnodisc. And if you watched the TV show when that was a thing, you know that that is pretty much game over for most robots if they get hit by that. Yeah, this is where Dominator 2 shines, especially in a one-on-one situation. You can focus down the one robot and just get them into the pit somehow. Please. Please just get in the pit. So yeah. Timing will end on cease when we win. Which requires the robots to cooperate. And that's time. That is when time would be. We've won. It was gold. And as proof, we can show that we've unlocked we got Arena Editor unlocked. So yeah, that is the Arena Editor any % run for you guys.